Who told you? Who told you? Who told you? Who told you? You what? God designed.
What's going on, everybody? How's my board buddies doing? I'm excited to be here. I hope you are too. Thanks for joining, y'all. It's a great day today. We live from the belly of the beast, Rockefeller's home, Millionaires Row, East Cleveland, y'all. Where it's snowing like a winter storm outside, y'all. 15 inches is on the way. Still was a beautiful day. I like it. It's a challenge, and I'm always up for a challenge. Y'all know me. So today we're going to be talking about a few things about fitting in. I hope y'all having a great day. It's my pleasure to share with y'all some really exciting news about these dogs and the dog game. As usual, we coming with the cutting edge. We coming with I want to introduce y'all to a new Boerboel that we working with, that I've made a decision on. This is young Cujo. He's out of the Big Red Machine, one of the #1 Boerboels in history, the highest sold Boerboel. And we're gonna talk about this dog and why I chose to use him against some people's thinking best. Some people feel that, hey man, why did you post the dog up? He don't look that good, and so on and so forth. I should take him down. And I'm like, let me tell you something. This dog right here is proven. And we're going to go and get into why I chose to use him versus a lot of other dogs that I could have used, and why I chose to include him. And I want everybody to take a good look at this picture here. The dog doesn't look like your normal Boerboel. People are like, oh, okay. I never saw a Boerboel like that. That's rare. That's exotic. That's cool. It's not so much about his color. We're looking at the condition of the dog. Okay. He lean. He's not really displaying a big, heavy chest. He's not showing a whole lot of muscle. He's not showing a whole lot of head. Everything on the dog is mediocre, right? For a stud dog, though, it's a lot to consider. All right. I'm looking at, is this dog going to be able to get the job done? And this dog has proven itself. So we're going to talk about fitting in versus belonging, okay? And why I do things a little different despite what everybody else feels like I should do or should be doing. We are not supposed to be the same, okay? And as a breeder, you're going to have to make some tough calls. You're going to have to rely on yourself a lot, because people are going to tell you what they feel like is right. And you got to have your own instincts, your own vision, your own ideas for your own program. You got to remember that these are going to be your creations. And it's your responsibility, sole responsibility. It's not up to anybody else. It's nobody else is going to be caring for your dogs. Nobody else is going to be raising your puppies. Nobody else is going to be completely responsible for the litter in its entirety. So you have to remember that when you breed in dogs, other people's opinions are just that. They're just opinions. And that's why we don't really subscribe so much to the appraisal system and the different type of organizations requirements for registration, because they're basically irrelevant. They're basically all based about somebody else's opinions and what they feel like the direction of the breed should be. And with respect to their opinions or the so-called creators of the breed, we thank them. If it wasn't not for our forefathers of the breed, we would not have the dogs that we have. But now, when you get the dog in your possession and you become a breeder, now you are the forefather of your own lines and development. So you need to take that. It's your dogs, your considerations. And what we developing with exotic Boerboels is something more performance oriented. So we take a dog like this dog that we have, Cujo, and we're going to measure him up versus a lot of different stud dogs, and why I chose to bring him into our program more permanently. This dog is a natural stud dog. That's the primary consideration for performance. A healthy stud dog, a good stud dog, is able to breed unassisted. When you have a stud dog that lacks desire, lacks the drive, lacks the willingness to breed, lacks the motivation to breed, then in my opinion, this dog doesn't qualify as a suitable candidate for my bloodlines. So modern practice for a lot of the dogs is for them to go through a more scientific approach to breeding. That's fine. In some situations, you're not able to connect dogs naturally due to geographics, because we always seeking out the best genetics in the world. So in cases like that, we may have to use dogs that is far and abroad. Progesterone testing is going to be absolutely necessary. Using the scientific method or the scientific approach is going to be more common practice when you're breeding dogs from a far distance. And so that's a situation that calls for those to be applied. Other than that, I will rather drive my dog from across the country and to meet the actual stud dog, because I want to be sure that this dog got the drive, got the desire, and is willing to get up there. A very important component of our breeding program is drive. We want dogs that are big, but still intense and determined to get the job done. The lazier Mastiff, the bigger, heavier, stronger Mastiff, is cool, but we don't prefer. That's not a preference. We don't want to lose the athleticism of the breed what attracted us to this South African Boerboel. And in some other subspecies, different breed, let's take the Cordonix quail. Because of the practices that they have been cultivated under in developing this game bird, they have lost their natural ability to sit on eggs, or they don't sit on the eggs and they don't hatch eggs naturally. This could be a real reality for our purebred, especially large breed dogs and the designer bred dogs. They will not survive without the intervention of humans. And if we're talking about a working breed, we're talking about a functional breed. How can we consider ourselves truly breeding a functional breed if we have these dogs that can't get the job done? And with our breeding program, we go beyond just getting the job done. I like intense desire. I want a dog that can go beyond the limit. And if you see, I put the picture up and to make a point. You know, this dog, you can see in the background, the bike, we on the run. We went some distance. And later to follow up, we're going to show a video of the dogs running. You got to be careful with these guys that's posting up a lot of pictures. The breeders, they slick. They can catch up. You can catch a dog at a one picture, and it's not an accurate representation of the total dog. You get one good picture, and you just have an idea of what the dog looks like. I need much more information than that, and you should too, in considering the dog a suitable breeding dog. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but a video got to be worth 1,000,000. So we talking about my boy Cujo. In comparison to a lot of Boerboels, he's going to be a mid-range. Okay, and I'm gonna show y'all this dog, a Dizzleboom, and a very impressive dog. If anybody want to leave a comment on about this dog, you're welcome to, and then I'll give y'all some information. This my friend had got this dog, and he brought him to me. He said, "Man, I want you to work him out," and he knows I take him out and exercise him, get him in shape. And he said he's fat, so I said, "Okay, bring the dog to me. Let me see what he's looking like." He brought the dog to me. I was impressed. I ain't gonna lie. I like him. He looks real good. He's a world-class dog. He can travel the world and been involved in several breeding programs. And so I take the dog. I got him on the yard, and he's running around with a female. I got one in heat at the time. So, you know, I see he running around, and the dog starts perspiring real heavily. I mean, he's like heavy panting, and so that's a red flag. When you see that heavy panting, red flag. Within minutes, if it's not warranting that type of sweating, then big red flag. Take a look at this dog. It's Dizzleboom. And we're gonna look at him real good. Nice structure on the dog, big, heavy, wide chest, big, heavy neck, strong head, shoulders, attachment. Look like an excellent dog, right? Go another picture. Front end. But I want y'all to look close down there by his pasterns. You see all of that drool down there? It's a nice day. Look like they might have wiped his mouth or something. But look at the sweat down there. Show you another picture. Look at all of that sweat down there around by his feet and the front paws. Okay? Show you another dog. One of my own dogs. This dog right here. Same thing. See all of that sweat down there? That's Alpha. Okay? See all of that sweat down there? Alpha. That's Alpha. So those are some muscular, heavy, traditional style Boerboels, the modern style, right? Very impressive dogs. That's my own dog, Alpha. I have very high expectations for him, more so than I did with Outlaw. Alpha wasn't as big as Outlaw, which doesn't really make or break a dog in my breeding program. And it should not if you're looking for function, because remember, even the mid-range Boerboel is going to be larger than your average dog. And 150-pound dog is plenty of dog to get. That's a lot of dog to get the job done, especially if you got a functional, athletic version of that. So I'm looking at these dogs. Alpha had a big problem, and he RIP Alpha. He didn't make it. He succumbed to a heat stroke. It's not the first dog that's done that, and that's why I try to keep my dogs on the lean side. But with Dizzle Boom, the heavier muscle dog, similar to Alpha, with the heavy panting, RIP to Dizzle, those dogs have a very short lifespan based on them not having the wind capacity, the circulatory system, respiratory system. They have a lot of issues when it comes to wind capacity, the circulatory system, and the respiratory system. And Dizzle was no different. Those type of dogs did not qualify in the exotic Boerboel breeding program because we were desire a more functional mastiff based off the principle of survival of the fittest. We are looking to produce longevity. So we don't mind about not fitting in. We comfortable with that. If that tends to be what everybody else wants to do, breed towards something that's less functional with the heavier mass, the heavier bone, and just the bigger size overall. In other breeds, we have seen that be failure. So we know that practice does not lend to positive results. Therefore, why do we continue to practice of breeding bigger and this bigger and bigger? And I think that it's one of the biggest mistakes that we can make. People want to try to use that as a measurement for value, and that's tends to not be the case, especially when you're talking about the larger breed dogs and you're looking to produce athleticism and musculature. So that's a big part of what we got going on with our dogs. I like a dog that can run. And now if you see in our last video when I was out on the bike, that's a common practice. That's something that we're going to be doing all the time. And if the dog can't keep up, then it's a big problem for me. Like I've had situations before where I've had the big, heavier mastiff. I done had all the different kind of Boerboels in my years of having them. And the bigger, heavier dogs, they look like bodybuilders, right? All they need is a little bit of muscle in it, or trimming them up, cut them up. And the way that we're going to accomplish that is through the way that we're going to accomplish that is through our, what do you call that, aerobic exercise, or your cardiovascular exercise. So that's a form of cardiovascular when we take the dogs and through the bike runs. And that what we're trying to accomplish with that is a more trim, lean dog. And you do that with the heavier, bigger dogs, and they should be able to do that with the South African Boerboels. I've had dogs that end up stopping on the halfway through the ride and just refuse to continue. And it's like, what do you do at that point? You know, you're on the bike, let's say you get 2-3 miles away from home, and then the dog just lays down on you and refuses to ride. Go in here, I'm not going any further. People riding past like, hey man, your dog okay? You know what I'm saying? You need some help? You know, and I tend to take my dogs out late at night. So I'm out standing outside on the corner on Shaw and Hayden, trying to make it home, and the dog you know, people riding through. Hey man, you need some help? I had to call a rescue. And you know, I never going through that again. I don't never want another dog like that. No Boerboel should be like that. And so what I do is that's one of my qualifications for breeding. I wouldn't like to be able to take one of the biggest, master, most muscular, heavier dogs and take them and rip them up and make them look like a prize fighter. And I showed y'all the pictures of the original dogs that attracted me to the breed, and this is what it's all about for me. And I feel like survival of the fittest will always always a golden rule. It's a universal principle that applies to all the different breeds or every different species. You know, the strongest gonna survive. So this is our way of measuring that. And with these appraisals and these scoring systems, if these systems were accurate in their measurements of a dog's fitness and function, then that might be something that we'll get involved in. In the meantime, in between time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up with our own system. You know, and a minimum 1 mile run within 7 to 9 minutes is a basic requirement, should be for any breeding dog. And that's why we see all these dogs with these C-sections, because they don't do nothing but sit around in the kennels all day. But not me. I'm having my dogs out running, functioning, because we're going to transfer that into their DNA. And it's important for me because I want strong puppies. I want strong bitches. I want strong studs and strong females. So I want strong eggs and I want strong sperm. And that's how you're going to get that, through activating these respiratory circulatory systems. How do you test that? Through a look, through a picture? No. That's why you see we're going to take the dogs and measure it with 1 to 200 pounds. You're going to take the dog 200 pounds and then you're going to take it 200 yards. You understand? Put it on a vest and make the dog drag it. That's an accurate measurement. That's an accurate qualification for breeding. When you're talking about looking at a picture and we're going to say this picture is going, yeah, I like that dog. That don't mean nothing. That means very little to me other than that it's a nice picture. Okay. So videos, I need to see some videos. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be posting videos. I want that because it's evidence. I can see more of the dog. And if you look at my dog, he lean now, he trim, he fit, but wait till that's 3 days when he first got there. And if you see when I get done with him in about 3 months, that's 3 days. So this is the winter season. He won't be doing a whole lot of bulking and putting on a whole lot of weight to carry him through the winter, help him stay warm. But when we get into the summer, when we get into the season, where the spring, that we can get out and the roads is dry and we can run and go, but he's already going to be in top physical condition. You understand? And then we're going to be able to measure the dog based off of his production record, because that's what really means something to me. When you start talking about what a dog look like and how is he bred, that's what type of credit that the dog should have versus just a picture. So, you know, don't put too much weight on it. You know what I'm saying? When I put up a picture of the dogs, letting people know where I stand, or I'm trying to be 100% transparent too. See, so I'm not one of these guys that's only posting the perfect pictures. And it ain't about me. You know, I just want to give you all an example of how things to be. You know, if you want to do this, I ain't got nothing to hide. You understand? So no, I'm gonna keep it up there. You understand? This is what the dog look like. Yeah, it might not be the best picture to you, but it's cool to me. So I'm gonna roll with it because I know that what the dog can do for me. And in the long run, you'll see his production record is going to speak. It's a lot to like about this dog. Okay. So when we getting into these discussions, I just don't want to make it about me. I'm just using me as an example because we got my dogs and we got, you know, this is about it is my show. So we might as well discuss way I got things going on and give y'all an insider perspective, what's going on in my mind and how we rolling. So with these Boerboels, for us, it's about longevity and drive. And you'll see our dogs, they look a little different because of that. Because we're not just going for wrinkles in the face or oversized head or oversized chest or oversized bone, right? The extremes is not something that is desired. When you start getting into extremes, you're going to start to sacrifice different qualities because balance is just the way that the universe works. Excuse me. So when you start talking about heavier chest, bigger front end, that's usually a result of having some deficiency in the back, right? So the dog is going to carry more front end weight. And if you look, we try to shoot for balance across the front and the back versus just an extremely heavy chest or a big heavy neck and a big heavy front end. If you look at those dogs that I had showed you earlier, this is why these dogs got issues. All right. I showed y'all those dogs earlier. Those dogs that I had showed y'all, I'm gonna show you again. My main man, Alpha, RIP. He can't keep up. You know what I'm saying? You see the sweat all around his front paws. Then we're gonna go over to some more dog. Check out this boy, Dizzle Boom. They both had these breathing issues, right? They say it's some kind of heart issue in the breed. So that's our way of weeding it out. You know, they had said that Dizzle produced some nice offsprings, and because of that, he was transferred and shipped all around the world. But that leads to this quite a few questions, right? If you got a dog that's producing some superior offspring, why are you shipping them off? Why you get rid of them? That's just one example. He's related to some very popular dogs in the breed right now. So I felt that it was irrelevant, and why, you know, I had rolled past the dog several times. He dead now. I rolled past the dog several times, had access to him, and why I would rather go with a dog that can do something. So you see, our program is based around fitness and function, and that's a priority. Anybody got any questions before we jump off? Thank y'all, you know, all my loyal viewers, because let me tell y'all something about fitting in too. Doing your own thing, people ain't, if you got to remember, you're going to have people that support you and people that don't, regardless, right? It's not up to you how they do. You can't control other people. And I'm not, like with the Boerboel community, you know, they had this, I don't know, I just don't fit in for whatever reason, but I'm here. I belong. I'm a part of it. And I'm going to address one other issue that people have said, you know, what they have with my program. Why did I name my dogs exotic Boerboels? Next question. Why? Oh, okay. So people told me that putting a dog up on Craigslist was for adoption was taboo in the Boerboel community. Well, I found very reputable homes on Craigslist, and I found that it's a very good way to find people that are looking and qualify for dogs, and you can get quite a few inquiries off of Craigslist, adopting dogs on Craigslist. So I didn't see nothing wrong with it. And like I said, that's why we can't worry about trying to fit in. What would be a better way to find a dog a new home? So what's the problem with that? I appreciate y'all for being here with me. If nobody have no questions, I'm gonna address one thing for y'all. I did have a question about the loose stools. So a lot of times people have we watch the stool of our dogs we have because we don't want them using it in the house, so we're taking them out to use the restroom, and we're looking for every observation that we can with our dogs to know that they are well. And the stool is one of the things that we can look at. We don't have many different signs to look for with our dogs. So the stool is one of the best indicators of where our dog is feeling. And we tend to become worried when the stool gets loose, like a diarrhea one of the ways that we solve that is by fasting. Remember that the dog is able to go 6 days without food on a regular basis and not suffer any adverse effects. It's part of their evolution. So we always resort to fasting the dog when we have digestive issues, because we want to give the system a chance to recover. 10 dogs can go without eating. We don't have to feed them as often as we do. That's one of the second biggest mistakes that we make, feeding our dogs too often. So we always resort to fasting, skip a day or two, let the dog's stomach, because once the dog is fasting, then he should not be pooping. And that gives him a chance to recover. So if anybody got any questions, once the dog is fasted for a couple of days, he shouldn't be pooping. Then you're going to give him food in small increments. Feed him, wait till he poops, observe the poop, and then exactly, family, just like the wolves. And then we're going to feed based on that. So I hope y'all was able to walk away with something for that today. Every day, giving it our all. We're doing our best to give you something of value. Don't forget to check the website. Don't forget to check our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube on the regular. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, puppies, yes, as well as older dogs. Puppies are very comparable to adult dogs, but you're going to kind of think that they're growing at twice the time is traveling for puppies at twice the speed as it does for adult dogs. So what I mean by that is the puppies are they're growing, and with South African Boerboels, it's usually at a high rate. So we may tend to feed puppies a little bit more often. We definitely have to feed puppies more often. Puppies, you're going to see when the dog is ready to resume eating. Don't fast the dog for 6 days. Fast the dog until you see the loose stool cease. So that's the goal. And then we're going to start feeding. So it's kind of like resetting the digestive tract. But yeah, puppies and older dogs. Yep. We can apply this to fasting principle. Is very important for the dog's development of their digestive system and their metabolism. I appreciate y'all for joining. If anybody got any questions, now's the time to ask. Thank you. Thank you, Aisha. Aisha C said we gave lots of good info. Thanks for watching. Appreciate that. Yep, 3 times is good. So I'll catch up with y'all next week. Got a birthday celebration. Headed to celebrate with my baby for her birthday. I appreciate y'all. I hope everybody's staying warm and they ain't getting snowed in. I'll catch up with y'all soon. Oh, don't forget, y'all, we got a litter on the ground. If anybody interested, we haven't started posting the pictures yet, but we will be posting them soon. So if you serious, don't wait, don't hesitate, because we're gonna be. I need to update. We already took a couple reservations. I got 1 male available, and I got 3 females available, but we haven't even posted the pictures yet. So if you're serious, don't forget.
No rush, go and move dumb. Back and forth, push and shove. Make your peace and love turn to peace and gloves. Now you got a deal run up. No rush, go and move dumb. Back and forth, push and shove. Make your peace and love turn to peace and now you got a deal run up. Whole gang, whole man, old school, young jam.